Welcome back, babes. We are so glad to have you. Babes, if you are a returning snarker, welcome back. And babes, if you are a new snarker, go ahead and like and subscribe because, babes, we are your people. Today, we are talking about literal crap, MDMA in the Hamptons, and why dating an international arms dealer is always a red flag.
I mean, it is honestly the ultimate lesson in what not to do when your life is already, a complete and utter disaster.
Literally.
But before we get into the absolute delusion of these characters, we really need to talk about what is currently saving my sanity.
Oh my gosh, yes. Wait, the signature drink is on deck.
Yeah.
Today we are sipping on a mango rum-spiked lemonade.
The best.
But guys, we didn't just pour this over ice like peasants. No, we ran it through the ninja slush. And babes, divine.
It is genuinely divine. I mean, I'm looking at this machine right now like it is a new member of our family.
I love it so much.
Analytically speaking, there's a direct correlation between the texture of a perfectly slushified beverage and, like, an immediate spike in serotonin. The science is undeniable.
Wait, say more about the science, because I just feel happy.
Well, when you get that perfect, microscopic ice crystal structure blended with the sugar in the rum, it doesn't just taste good. It fundamentally alters your brain chemistry.
It really does.
It bypasses all your daily stress and just hits the pleasure centers immediately.
It has honestly altered our brain chemistry and, like, our entire personalities. I feel like a completely different, much happier person when I have a frozen drink in my hand.
We are so much nicer.
We really are. It is instant serotonin, and I'm officially putting it out into the universe right now. Minji, you need to sponsor this show.
Seriously.
We are demanding it. We are your perfect demographic of highly stressed, reality TV-obsessed professionals who just want to drink adult slushies and judge people on television.
Consider this our formal, slightly threatening pitch. Cheers to the Snark Squad.
Cheers. Okay, so shifting from frozen serotonin to literal sound waves.
Yeah.
I have to tell you guys what the sound bath we just went to. We literally just got back. And babes, it was amazing.
It was certainly an experience. I'm still processing exactly what happened to my auditory cortex.
It was a profound spiritual reset. I am not even exaggerating.
Okay.
Just the zen of laying there in the dark, the vibrations washing over you. I felt my entire soul detach from my body and just float.
Float right up to the ceiling.
Yes. But I also have to admit, there was this active, hilarious struggle in my brain for the first 20 minutes.
Oh, Sayre.
Trying to clear your mind when you have a chaotic, spiraling energy naturally. It is so hard. My brain was like, did I leave the oven on? What is Coop going to do about the blackmail? I need to buy more mangoes for the slush machine.
The mangoes are critical.
They are. But once I finally let go and, surrendered to the bowls, I felt so deeply spiritually healed.
I will admit the vibrations were soothing.
Okay.
Mostly because they were drowning out the sound of my own internal monologue, critiquing the acoustics of the room.
Oh my gosh, you would do that.
I can't help it. The facilitator was using quartz crystal bowls, which produce a very specific frequency, but the room had terrible baffling.
Wait, what does that mean?
Like the sound waves were bouncing off the drywall and creating this dissonant echo. It was a mess acoustically. But I will confess something right here, right now.
What?
I almost fell asleep.
Shut up, you did.
I did. I was lingering right on the edge of that deep REM cycle paralysis. And honestly, the real miracle here, the thing that truly deserves an award, the fact that we both went 1 full hour without checking TikTok.
Oh my gosh, put it on a plaque, hang it in the loo.
Seriously, 60 uninterrupted minutes of not scrolling through conspiracy theories about true crime or looking at restock videos. I deserve a medal.
It was a full dopamine detox.
Forced upon us by a woman named Sunshine holding a mallet.
You really do deserve an award. But let's just take a moment to spiral and acknowledge something. Going to a sound bath and drinking mango rum slushies, I mean, this is the absolute softest girl thing we have done all week.
Maybe all year. We are fully leaning into the cozy vibes.
Cheers to growth. And honestly, in honor of the absolute mess of a show we are discussing today, we thought it would be so fun to give you your alter ego crime horoscope.
Because if you're hanging out with us, you definitely have a chaotic streak.
Exactly. Think of this as your personalized roadmap to your own criminal downfall. Let's see how you're going to get yourself arrested.
Let's start with our fire signs. Aries and Leo.
Ooh, the fiery ones.
If you are an Aries or a Leo, you are the getaway driver. You are behind the wheel, the adrenaline is pumping, the sirens are wailing in the distance.
Oh my gosh, I'm stressed already.
And you managed to parallel park the getaway car perfectly outside the bank, but you completely forgot to fill the gas tank.
No,
Yes. So you make it exactly 3 blocks, the engine sputters, and the car just dies in the middle of a four-way intersection.
It's the absolute blistering confidence paired with a complete and utter lack of logistical foresight. Classic fire sign.
Exactly. Now, for Cancer and Pisces,
Oh boy.
your crime horoscope is arguably the most psychologically tragic. You get brought in for questioning, and within 20 minutes, you become deeply emotionally attached to the detective investigating you.
Wait, I feel personally attacked.
You start trauma dumping about your childhood, your parents' divorce, and your imposter syndrome,
Mm.
and you end up just confessing to the crime solely to keep the conversation going because you finally feel seen by an emotionally available man in a suit.
I am literally blushing because I would absolutely trauma dump on a detective if he asked me how my day was going. I really would.
Oh, 100%. You would be doing hard time just to get a hug.
Stop. Okay, let me do Virgo and Capricorn. You guys are the ones who accidentally commit massive corporate tax fraud.
So true.
You didn't even mean to be a criminal. You just tried to over-organize a spreadsheet, and in the process of color-coding the cells, you inadvertently created a complex series of offshore shell companies just to keep the formatting clean.
But the pivot tables were flawless, officer.
Exactly. And boom, the IRS is knocking down your door.
All right, and finally, Gemini and Libra. You crack under interrogation immediately.
Instantly.
The absolute millisecond the fluorescent light hits your face, you fold like a cheap card table. But the twist is, instead of giving the cops the actual details of the crime, you just give them all the local neighborhood gossip.
Like, you just spill the tea on everyone else.
Yeah, you're sitting in the interrogation room like, look, I don't know where the stolen diamonds are, but did you know Brenda in 4B is sleeping with her personal trainer and her husband just bought a boat?
You give them absolutely nothing useful for the indictment, but all the tea for their personal lives. I love it so much.
It's incredibly chaotic.
Okay, well, our soft girl era is officially on a timer because we have to shift gears and talk about the impending doom hanging over our actual lives. We were preparing for a camping trip next week. And babes, why?
Because someone, and I won't name names, but she's sitting right across from me with a slushie, thought it would be grounding.
I wanted to connect with the earth. I wanted to feel the soil beneath my feet. But now the reality is setting in, and I am actively spiraling.
As you should be.
The horrors of nature are keeping me awake at night. The bugs, the dirt, the sheer indignity of having to sleep outside on the ground like we haven't spent thousands of years evolving past the Stone Age, specifically so we could have memory foam mattresses.
The packing chaos alone is enough to induce a clinical panic attack. We spent 3 hours yesterday debating what actually constitutes an essential survival item.
It's a very valid debate.
You tried to argue that a portable espresso machine was a survival requirement?
It is. How am I supposed to forage for berries or whatever if I haven't had a perfectly extracted crema? My brain will literally not function.
You are gonna die out there.
I am not emotionally equipped for the wilderness. I need my creature comforts.
The irony is, being dentists is probably the only thing that has weirdly prepared us for this ordeal.
Wait, really?
Think about it. We have incredibly strong stomachs. We stare into the dark, terrifying abyss of people's mouths every single day.
That is very true. Blood and spit do not faze me.
Right. We have immense patience. We have elite problem-solving skills under pressure. And we have emergency medical kits stashed literally everywhere.
Wait, that is so true. I didn't even think about that. If someone gets a fishhook caught in their cheek while we're out there, we can numb it, extract it, and stitch it up flawlessly with perfect margins.
Exactly. We are medical professionals. But if we have to start a fire without a lighter,
we will freeze to death in the dark.
Immediate hypothermia. We have absolutely zero actual wilderness survival instincts. We are going to be those people who call for a helicopter rescue because a raccoon looked at us aggressively and we felt our boundaries were violated.
I am already drafting my final will and testament. I'm leaving you my slushy machine.
I accept.
But alas, we must soldier on. Babes, we are frozen, spiritually healed, deeply unprepared for camping, and fully ready to get into this mess. Let's talk about the absolute spiral that is this show.
Let's set the stage because the structure of this is fascinating. A lot of people online have been complaining that it feels like nothing is happening, that we're just watching these characters live their lives, go to bowling alleys, and make vaguely bad decisions.
Which is so wrong.
It is, because this is where the velvet line trap finally snaps shut. If you want to understand what's happening, you have to look at it through one specific thematic lens, and that's the illusion of control.
Ooh, the illusion of control. I like that.
Every single character thinks they are driving the car, but they are all tightly buckled into the passenger seat, and Owen Ashe has the keys.
Oh my gosh, that is the perfect way to look at it, because it starts right in the thick of that exact dynamic. Coop is sitting in this sterile, high-end office, signing the papers for the Excelsior Fund with Ashe's lawyer, Luke DeMille.
Right.
And remember, this is happening right after Ron's funeral. Coop is literally hallucinating his dead dad standing in the corner of the room, judging him while he signs his life away.
It's brilliant directing, really. It's not supernatural horror. It's just the physical manifestation of his own rotting conscience.
Yeah.
His brain is frantically trying to warn him, projecting the ultimate moral authority figure in his life, his father, to physically block him from making this decision.
It's so sad. Coop is such a tragic figure right now. He knows deep down that this is a terrible idea. He knows Ashe is dangerous, but he's trapped.
Is he, though?
I mean, I was reading some of the reviews, and they pointed out that the real tragedy of Coop is that he just heard his dad's posthumous moral lessons about how wanting more will eventually cost you your peace, and he's just flat out ignoring them.
Well, yeah.
He's driven by this toxic mix of pride and fear, and it is heartbreaking to watch him cross that point of no return.
I hear your empathy, I really do, but I am entirely out of it when it comes to Andrew Cooper.
You hate him so much.
He is not a tragic figure. He is financially illiterate and a coward. Let's look at the mechanical facts of his behavior. He is aggressively ignoring Elena's phone calls while simultaneously signing his life away to a geopolitical supervillain.
That's true. He was ghosting her.
Elena has to physically show up at his house because he's dodging her like a bad debt. And what does he do when she arrives?
He tells her the truth. He tells her about the blackmail.
No, he trauma dumps all over her. He completely centers himself. She comes to him in a genuine panic, saying, look, we need to hit another house this weekend. I need cash immediately because I owe terrifying people money.
Right.
And instead of being a partner in crime, he makes it all about his problems. He tells her their money is tied up in Nick's gym, he can't access it, and he can't do anything because he's going to the Hamptons. He is fundamentally useless to her survival.
Okay, that is fair. I will concede that he is being a terrible partner to Elena right now. He did take away her control. But you have to acknowledge the invisible pressure cooker he is in.
I acknowledge he put himself there.
But he even missed a child support payment because Ashe's audit of Nick's gyms froze his funds, which, by the way, is such a subtle, terrifying flex by Ashe.
It's brilliant.
Ashe doesn't even have to send a goon to break his legs. He just touches the money. And suddenly, Coop's entire life, his relationship with his ex-wife, his responsibilities to his child, grinds to a complete halt. That is terrifying.
Exactly. Ashe understands that violence is loud, but financial control is silent and absolute. Which brings us to the Hamptons trip.
The Hamptons.
Coop, Hunter, Nick, Barney, and Grace all head out east to Ashe's massive, ridiculously gorgeous mansion in Quogue. And the moment they get there, Ashe drops the hammer.
He does?
He casually reveals to Nick that his team is taking over the infrastructure and accounting of Nick's gyms.
Which completely ruins their entire money laundering scheme.
Yeah.
Barney and Coop will rely on that gym to clean their stolen cash, and now Ashe is holding the books. But I want to pause here because I don't think everyone realizes exactly how devastating this is. Like, how does a gym actually launder money? And why is Ashe taking over the infrastructure such a death sentence for them?
Let's break down the mechanics, because it's fascinating. A gym is the perfect front for cleaning cash because it is heavily reliant on recurring, untraceable transactions.
Okay, tracking.
If you want to launder money, you create ghost memberships. You take the dirty cash you stole, you deposit it into the gym's bank account, and you write it off in the ledger as 50 new members paying cash for annual subscription.
Right.
Or buying hundreds of protein shakes at the smoothie bar, or paying for high-end personal training sessions. The money goes into the business dirty, and it comes out the other end as clean, taxable corporate revenue.
Wow. Because who can prove that John Doe didn't walk in and hand over $500 in cash for a personal trainer?
Precisely. But here's the trap Ashe springs. Ashe isn't just looking at the bank statements. He says his team is taking over the infrastructure.
Which means what, exactly?
In a forensic audit, investigators don't just look at the money, they look at the physical reality of the business. If Nick's ledger claims he has 2,000 active members coming in every week, Ashe's accountants will look at the water bill.
Oh my gosh.
They will look at the towel service invoices. They will look at the key fob swipe data. If the water usage only reflects 500 people showering, but the books claim 2,000 people are working out, the discrepancy proves the money laundering.
That is insane.
By taking over the infrastructure, Ashe instantly captures all the evidence he needs to send Nick, Coop, and Barney to federal prison. He has them completely by the throat.
When you lay it out like that, it is so much more sinister. And Ashe does this while throwing a multi-million-dollar party to blind these guys to the fact that he is locking them into a financial prison.
It's a distraction technique.
He is handing out $25,000 bottles of booze. He is putting on this performance of extreme, dizzying luxury so they don't look down and see the bars of the cage. And then the absolute peak delusion of these men happens.
My favorite part.
The FBI shows up.
It is a masterclass in hubris. Agent Mueller and the FBI literally raid the house. They show up unannounced for maritime crimes and assist Interpol.
Maritime crimes.
They are carrying actual physical boxes of evidence out of the front door of the mansion.
And Nick doesn't even care. Nick is sitting there watching the FBI haul away documents from the man who's about to take over his business. And he's like, well, the review of the gems went well, so I'm looking at a $30 million payday.
He's an idiot.
He is so completely blinded by the greed that he cannot see the flashing red sirens right in front of his face. Barney is the only one who actually smells trouble.
Barney has some street smarts.
Right. Barney looks at the feds and thinks it might be a setup, but Nick just dismisses him.
Nick's brain cannot process the threat because accepting the threat means walking away from $30 million. It's cognitive dissonance in its purest form.
It really is. I look at Ashe's house like this beautiful velvet-lined trap or like a glowing spider web.
Yeah.
You get the private helicopters, you get the ridiculously expensive alcohol, you get the gorgeous beach views, but the cost of admission is your freedom.
Exactly.
You leave with a federal indictment. I want you guys to think about this for a second. Babes, if you were at a party, having a great time drinking expensive champagne, and the actual FBI raided the house, are you staying for the free alcohol or are you immediately calling an Uber and slipping out the back door?
Because these men stayed.
Right, I am running.
I am ordering the Uber while I am actively backing out of the room, and I am not making eye contact with anyone.
Exactly.
But these guys, they lie down on the plush lounge chairs and ask for a refill. The sheer, unadulterated hubris of wealthy men is the real antagonist of this show.
It is so wild.
But let's shift gears, because while the men are blinded by money, Sam is getting a very different look at Owen Ashe. Let's talk about the moment this episode went from a tense financial thriller to genuinely disturbing.
Oh, no.
The deer on the beach.
I am still recovering from this scene. It was so visceral and brutal. It completely changed the temperature of the show.
Sam is down by the beach. It's early morning. The sunrise is gorgeous. She's having this quiet, reflective moment looking at this beautiful deer.
Yeah.
And Ashe just walks up and shoots it dead. Cold blood. No hesitation. No warning.
And then he gives this terrifyingly calm, logical excuse. He doesn't act crazed. He acts like he just pruned a bush.
Right.
He claims they spread disease, they carry ticks with Lyme disease, they damage the local vegetation, they cause traffic accidents. He rattles off these talking points like he's reading a brochure.
Now, from a purely ecological standpoint, the overpopulation of deer on the East Coast is a factual issue, but that's a smokescreen.
Right, that's not why he did it.
That is not why he shot the animal, and that is certainly not how a normal, socially adjusted human handles a pest problem in front of a house guest. We need to look at this through the lens of psychology. Specifically, the dark triad personality traits.
Wait, break that down. What does that mean? Because it felt so calculated?
It was entirely calculated. The dark triad refers to narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. When someone with strong dark triad traits wants to establish dominance, they use unpredictable, disproportionate violence to bypass your logical defenses.
Oh, wow.
He didn't shoot the deer because it was a nuisance. He shot the deer to show Sam exactly what he is capable of. He harms first, and he justifies later.
That is so messed up.
By doing it casually and immediately following it up with a calm, rational explanation, he forces Sam's brain into a corner. She either has to panic and run, or she has to rationalize his behavior to feel safe.
She has to play along.
Exactly. He is establishing a dominance hierarchy, and he is placing himself firmly at the top as the arbiter of life and death in his territory.
And Sam is terrified.
Yeah.
You can see it in her eyes. Olivia Munn plays that internal discomfort so beautifully. And you have to remember her history. We saw what happened with Paul in season 1. She has a history of being with violent men Men who bruised her life and controlled her. Watching Ashe brutally murder an animal and then speak about it like he just took out the trash triggers every single alarm bell in her nervous system.
It is a massive red flag.
And it pushes her to do something incredibly reckless. She goes snooping.
Which is an incredibly dangerous decision driven by pure adrenaline. She goes into his recently ransacked office, rummages through his drawers, and finds a picture of his dead wife.
So scary.
And of course, because Ashe is omnipresent in this house, he catches her.
And he's not even mad. That was what scared me the most. If someone caught you digging through their private office right after the FBI raided it, they would scream at you.
Normal people would, yes.
But he is so smooth and dead-eyed. He casually admits the FBI was there for maritime crimes, and she straight up asks him, "Are you an international arms dealer?"
And he basically says yes, but claims he's on the right side of the law.
The right side of the law.
Right side of the law, as billionaires speak for, I exploit geopolitical loopholes and pay off the right politicians. When you operate at that level of wealth, the law is not a moral boundary, it's just a pricing structure.
Oh, so true.
But here is where my analytical snark reaches critical mass, and I need to call out Sam's behavior.
Oh boy, here we go.
She is in danger, yes. But she is also aggressively ignoring giant neon signs. She asks him if he's an arms dealer. He confirms it. He just shot a deer in front of her. His office was literally just raided by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and she still stays.
Well, wait.
Why? Because the house is nice. She doesn't want to ruin the vacation. It makes no logical sense.
No, I am going to push back on you here. I have to defend Sam. You are looking at this purely logically, but you have to look at the psychology of a trauma bond and the paralysis of fear.
It's still a bad decision.
When you have been conditioned by an abusive, violent partner like Paul, your nervous system doesn't scream run when you see a new red flag. It says appease.
I mean, okay.
Her freeze response has been activated. She's not staying for the free helicopters. She's staying because she is in his territory, isolated in the Hamptons, and she knows that if she tries to run, she becomes a liability.
That's a fair point.
And we just saw what he does to liabilities on the beach. Plus, the internet is going crazy over the dead wife.
Oh, the fan theories on the dead wife are rampant.
Exactly. People are theorizing that Ashe definitely killed his wife. They pointed out that the deer is a literary death omen in this episode. Ashe is a destroyer.
He certainly is.
He eliminates things that are in his way or that displease him. That photo of the dead wife in the drawer is not just a prop, it's a silent warning. Sam knows she is walking on a razor's edge.
Speaking of warnings and control, Ashe decides the best way to handle his increasingly anxious house guests is to completely strip them of their autonomy.
Literally drugs them.
He drugs them without their consent. He hands Coop, Nick, and Barney drinks spiked with MDMA.
Which is a whole other level of violation. Think about how terrifying it would be to be hiding deep, dark, federal prison-level secrets, like the fact you're an active burglar, laundering stolen money, and suddenly you are high out of your mind on MDMA.
You lose your entire filter.
You do.
Let's talk about the chemistry of MDMA, because it perfectly explains what happens next. MDMA floods the brain with serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin.
Okay, science time.
It creates intense feelings of emotional closeness, empathy, and euphoria. But more importantly, it drastically reduces activity in the amygdala, which is the brain's fear center.
Oh, wow. So they just stop being scared.
Exactly. So Coop's fear of Ashe, his fear of getting caught, his fear of ruining his life, it completely evaporates. He has absolutely zero inhibition or control. He's high, he's stumbling around this lavish party, and he kisses Cricket Birch.
Which is so unbelievably messy. Cricket is an ultra-wealthy client whose money Coop is supposed to be managing.
It's incredibly unprofessional.
She is already suspicious of this massive windfall he claims to be handling, and now he's getting sloppy and crossing massive professional boundaries. But then Grace steps in, and thank God she does.
Grace is the only truly intelligent person in this entire show. She operates on a completely different level.
She really does.
She pulls Coop aside and straight up threatens his life if he hurts Barney or gets him into hot water again. She sees right through the MDMA-fueled nonsense.
She was not playing.
She sees right through Ashe. She is a fiercely protective mama bear, and I respect her immensely. She looks at Coop and accurately identifies him as a walking liability. She is the only character who maintains her own agency and control in Ashe's house.
She is terrifying, but she's entirely right. Coop is a disaster. But the moment that really gave me anxiety, the moment that made my stomach drop, was later in the night.
Oh, the balcony scene.
Yes. Coop, still riding this emotional, drug-induced wave, finds Sam crying alone in a bedroom. She is spiraling. She is realizing her terrible choices in men have trapped her again. She's terrified of Ashe, and Coop tries to comfort her. They have this incredibly intense moment where they almost kiss, and I'm defending this emotional connection.
You would.
They have history, they're both trapped in Ashe's web, and they both realize they are drowning. It's a moment of desperate, shared humanity.
It's a trauma bond masquerading as romance. It is two drowning people trying to use each other as a raft.
That is so cynical.
But it's also incredibly stupid. Because while they are having this tender, near-adulterous moment of emotional clarity, Ashe is watching them.
Ugh, I know.
He is standing on a balcony above them, completely hidden in the shadows, with fireworks literally exploding in the background.
It is absolute nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
He definitely saw them. I was reading a thread online where a user pointed out that a guy like Ashe definitely has cameras all over that house.
Obviously.
The user said he definitely has cameras in that house like Epstein. And I completely believe it. He knows everything. He watched them. And his jealousy is not going to manifest as a sad conversation. It's going to be lethal.
Ashe views people as assets on a balance sheet until they become liabilities. And Coop and Sam are rapidly moving into the liability column.
Definitely.
The moment Ashe realizes he cannot control Sam's affection or Coop's loyalty, he will eliminate them. It's just a matter of when. But while the Hamptons are turning into a high-stakes, psychological thriller of surveillance and control, back in Westchester, we have the absolute nadir of television writing. Let's talk about the suburban chaos.
Oh, the contrast is wild. It almost gives you whiplash. We go from geopolitical international arms dealers, FBI raids, and MDMA to Mel and Ali in a backyard.
I need to unleash absolute, unadulterated fury on the character of Mel.
Oh, I knew this was coming.
I read the forums, I read the critical reviews, and let me tell you, the audience is entirely united on this point. Everyone hates this subplot. People are actively fast-forwarding through Mel's scenes because they are so painful to watch.
It is a midlife spiral of epic proportions.
It's pathetic.
Mel invites Ali over to her house, and they sit by the pool, drinking heavily, smoking, and complaining about perimenopause, aging, and grief. Which, on the surface, okay, that is valid.
Sure.
Ali is grieving the death of her dad. Mel is grieving the catastrophic end of her marriage and her social standing. But then their response to this existential dread is to enact vengeance on the neighbor, Brienne.
Because, of course, the logical adult response to the terrifying reality of your own mortality is to sneak across the property line and tip over a contractor's porta-potty on your neighbor's front lawn.
It's so bad.
It is juvenile. It is profoundly stupid, but it gets worse. As they are running away, Mel slips, falls face first into the literal human waste.
The blue puddle.
The blue puddle seeping out of the tipped-over toilet, and gets arrested by the police who happen to be driving by. I have to ask a fundamental question about character consistency here.
Okay, ask it.
Mel is a psychotherapist. She has an Ivy League degree. Why does she act like an impulsive toddler? One viewer online asked the real question. She could run left, backwards, or ideally right, but she decides to bolt straight ahead into the blue puddle. JFC, doesn't she have an Ivy League degree?
I try to find the empathy. I really do. I try to look at the human element here.
Good luck with that.
You have to understand the psychology of regression. Why does a smart woman run into a puddle of waste? Because it's an emotional regression.
It's stupidity.
No, when people hit a certain level of existential trauma, and Mel is unemployed, estranged from her daughter, lonely, and her hormones are raging, the prefrontal cortex, the logical part of the brain, basically shuts off.
I mean, I guess.
She is grieving the end of her life as she knew it. When she fell in that waste, I literally gasped out loud. It was so foul. But the true heartbreak of this storyline is what's happening at the exact same time with her daughter, Tori.
Tori, who is equally unlikable this season, but for entirely different teenage angst reasons.
Exactly.
Okay.
Tori goes to a high school party. She's surrounded by these awful, privileged kids who are making her feel terrible about her education, her parents' divorce, and her future.
You pick a high school nightmare.
She feels completely out of control of her own life. So she gets drunk to numb it.
Yeah.
And then someone asks her to move her car in the driveway. She tries to move it, completely impaired, crashes into another car, and gets a DUI.
Yep.
And the scene at the police station, it is a masterclass in dark comedy and deep tragedy. Mother and daughter end up in adjacent jail cells.
2 generations of Coopers sitting behind bars, the complete collapse of the suburban illusion, and Mel smells like actual literal excrement.
It's peak humiliation.
It is the rock bottom to end all rock bottoms.
Think about this scenario for a second, babes. What is your absolute rock bottom? Because falling into a porta-potty in front of the neighbors you actively hate, and then sitting in a cold jail cell smelling like human waste while your teenage daughter cries over a DUI in the next cell over, that has to be the absolute floor of human dignity.
There's nowhere to go but, or further underground.
I honestly don't know how you come back from that socially or emotionally.
You don't. You pack your bags, you move to a different state, or you change your identity entirely, which, ironically, Coop might have to do anyway based on the terrifying way this episode ends.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about the getaway.
The getaway. Coop is still out in the Hamptons when he gets the horrific phone call from Ollie that Mel and Tori are sitting in jail. He has to leave Ash's mansion in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But because he is still coming down from Ash's forced MDMA trip and is completely unfit to operate heavy machinery, Grace volunteers to drive him home.
Which is a 3-hour drive from Quogue, New York to Westchester. Let's paint that picture. A pregnant, highly intelligent woman driving a hungover, spiraling man who keeps dragging her beloved husband into dangerous criminal enterprises.
The tension inside that car was thick enough to cut with a knife.
Grace resents him, and Coop is terrified of her.
But the pivotal thematic moment of the drive is when a deer suddenly runs out into the middle of the dark road, and Grace slams on the brakes to avoid hitting it.
Such a good parallel.
It is the ultimate narrative foil to Owen Ashe. Ashe destroys the deer in cold blood in broad daylight and gives a polished, psychopathic excuse about Lyme disease to justify his dominance.
Right.
Grace, operating in the dark under immense stress, avoids the bloodshed. She protects life. It's a massive moral signpost for Coop.
It really is.
He is standing directly between these two worlds, the casual, wealthy destruction of Ashe and the fierce moral protection of Grace, and he just keeps choosing the wrong side.
He does, every single time. He makes it back to Westchester. He bails Mel and Tori out of jail, which is the ultimate depressing walk of shame in the harsh morning light. But the real cliffhanger happens later that night.
The trash.
Yes. Coop goes out to take the trash down to the curb. He's exhausted, his life is falling apart, and he's wearing his sad, baggy 2000 U.S. Open sweatpants.
Tragic fashion choice.
So tragic. And as he's standing there, he notices a black Dodge Charger parked ominously outside his house. He takes one step toward it, and the car instantly speeds off, aggressively peeling out and nearly running him over in the process.
And this is exactly where the internet exploded. The theories are running absolutely wild regarding who is behind the wheel of that car. Let's break them down analytically.
Okay, theory number one. It's the FBI. A lot of people online think the FBI was investigating Ashe's maritime crimes. They saw Coop at the house, and now they are watching Coop to try and flip him and make him a federal informant.
I'm going to analytically dismiss this theory right out of the gate.
Oh, okay. Why?
Look at the behavior of the car. It sped off aggressively, burning rubber, and nearly hit a pedestrian. The Federal Bureau of Investigation does not peel out like a hot-headed street racer when a suspect spots them taking out the trash.
Oh, that's true.
If you burn an FBI surveillance tail, they either slowly roll up the window and drive away at the speed limit, or they ignore you completely. The behavior of that Dodge Charger was an intimidation tactic, not a botched surveillance retreat.
Okay, that is a very valid point about law enforcement tactics. I didn't think about that. Theory number two. It's Ashe's goons. Some viewers noted the look on Ashe's face when he saw Sam and Coop walking back into the party together after their near kiss. Ashe's is clinically crazy, and he's violently possessive.
Very possessive.
He saw that emotional connection. He knows Coop is getting too close to Sam, and he sent his men to remind Coop that he is constantly being watched. Stay useful, stay quiet, or get hurt.
This is by far the most logical conclusion. Ashe and his lawyer, Luke DeMille, already made it abundantly clear to Coop that he has no graceful way out of the Excelsior fund.
Right.
The muscle car parked in the dark is a physical manifestation of Ashe's overarching threat. It's Ashe saying, I control your money, I control your business, and I know exactly where you sleep.
It's chilling. Honestly terrifying. But what about theory number three? Elena or her dangerous cousins?
Let's hear it.
Let's look at the timeline. Coop told Elena he was going out east, and he completely blew her off when she desperately needed money to pay off some very scary people from her past. She knows his house in Westchester is sitting empty.
Right.
Maybe her cousins were casing the joint to rob it, or maybe they're coming after Coop directly for the money Elena owes them.
It's plausible, but it feels sloppy for seasoned criminals. If you wanted to rob a suburban house, why sit in a running, loud muscle car directly out front under a streetlight?
Good point.
That draws attention. But narratively, it keeps Elena's thread relevant to Coop's immediate physical danger, rather than just financial danger.
Okay, and finally, theory number 4,
Mhm.
which is my absolute favorite because it is so incredibly shady.
I can't wait.
Someone online suggested that it was actually Sam in the car. The theory goes that she drove all the way from the Hamptons to Westchester in the middle of the night, hoping for a second chance to sleep with Coop. But when she pulled up and saw him taking out the trash in his tragic, stained 2000 U.S. Open sweatpants, she was so immediately turned off by the lack of aesthetic appeal that she just floored the gas pedal and sped away to preserve her own dignity.
I will hilariously dismiss this because logistically, Sam was still trapped in the Hamptons with an arms dealer, but I absolutely love the shade of the theory.
It's so funny.
Imagine your loungewear being so aggressively unsexy that it actually saves you from a late-night, life-ruining booty call. Truly spectacular. It is the ultimate defense mechanism.
It is the funniest visual. But it really leaves us on such a massive cliffhanger. Is Sam in physical danger? Is Coop the targeted of hit? We are spiraling with questions.
We really are.
But before we wrap this up, we have some very important segments to get to, where we apply our own chaotic logic to this mess.
Indeed. It's time to apply our own brand of analytical chaos to these characters. Let's move into segment 1. Who would survive the camping trip?
Yes, we are taking our own real-life camping dread and applying it to the cast of the show. We have to debate who would thrive outdoors and who would emotionally collapse. Let's start with the devil himself, Owen Ashe. How does he handle the great outdoors?
Ashe would technically survive, but only because he would cheat the fundamental premise of camping.
Obviously.
He wouldn't pitch a tent. He would arrive via a private Sikorsky helicopter. He would bring a Michelin-starred private chef, construct a temperature-controlled glamping yurt with Egyptian cotton sheets, and spend the entire weekend shooting all the local wildlife with high-powered suppressed rifles while sipping 25-year-old single malt scotch.
That is so accurate.
He wouldn't survive nature. He would conquer it through sheer financial force and casual violence.
He would literally pave the forest so he wouldn't get mud on his loafers.
Okay.
Contrast Ashe's weaponized survival skills with Mel.
Mel would emotionally collapse within 45 minutes of arrival, and I feel I'm being incredibly generous with the 45-minute estimate.
Oh, absolutely. I look at Mel and I see someone who would legitimately view a slightly damp sleeping bag as a reason to call FEMA.
Yes.
She would get exactly one mosquito bite, immediately decide she has contracted a rare, incurable tropical disease, start crying about how Brienne's camping equipment back in Westchester is probably aesthetically superior to hers, and demand a helicopter evac. She would be calling Ali from the middle of the woods, sobbing into the phone while wrapped in an emergency foil blanket.
Highly accurate. What about our morally compromised protagonist, Coop?
Coop is completely doomed. He would confidently volunteer to set up the main tent to prove his masculinity.
Naturally.
He would completely fail to understand the tension poles, hit his own thumb with a rubber mallet, and then just sit down in the dirt and give up. And the moment the sun goes down, he would stare into the campfire smoke and start hallucinating his dead dad again, who would sit on a log and judge him for not knowing how to tie a basic slip knot.
Sad but true.
He would end the night crying in the fetal position inside the locked cab of his SUV.
A tragically precise psychological profile. Finally, Grace.
Oh, Grace would absolutely thrive. She is the only one I trust.
Grace is the apex predator of this entire cast. She would arrive in perfectly tailored, pragmatic LL Bean gear. She would build a roaring, sustainable fire using only a piece of flint and some lint from her pocket.
She totally would.
She would organize the rations with terrifying military precision. And if a black bear wandered into the campsite looking for food, she wouldn't run.
No way.
She would simply pull out a hunting knife, glare at the bear with that intense, emotionally unavailable suburban mom stare, and threaten its life until the bear actively apologized and backed away into the tree line.
The bear would be taking notes from Grace. She is unstoppable. Okay, moving on to segment 2. Soft girl era or criminal era. We have to categorize these cast members into specific, chaotic eras based purely on their behavior in this episode.
Let's analyze Sam's current trajectory.
Sam is giving future true crime documentary. She is the quintessential tragic wife who ignores all the glaring neon red flags until the Dateline special is already in production.
100%.
Think about the evidence she has collected just in this episode. The dead wife photo hidden in the desk. The casual slaughter of the deer. The verbal confession that he's an arms dealer. She is literally gathering the B-roll footage for her own Keith Morrison voiceover. You can hear it now. She thought she had finally found a safe harbor, but the Hamptons hold dark, deadly secrets.
Spot on. Her cognitive dissonance is going to be the subject of a Netflix limited series. What era is Mel in?
Mel is the textbook definition of midlife spiral. She is getting arrested in a puddle of human waste outside a porta-potty because she was jealous of a contractor.
Yeah.
There was no other era for her.
None at all.
It is sad, it is messy, it requires immediate psychiatric intervention, and it smells terrible.
Let's categorize Grace.
Grace is giving emotionally unavailable suburban parent. She is terrifying, she is insanely wealthy, and she will absolutely destroy you, your social reputation, and your kneecaps to protect her peace and her family unit. Do not cross her at the PTA meeting, and do not cross her in a criminal conspiracy.
And finally, Elena.
Elena is fully unapologetically in her criminal era. She is the only person on this entire show who is actually focused on doing the crimes required to get the bag.
She's very focused.
Everyone else is crying about their dads, getting high on MDMA, or shooting wildlife. And Elena's like, hello, excuse me, we have houses to rob, I have scary cousins to pay off, let's go. I respect the hustle and the focus.
She has absolute tunnel vision for the larceny. I appreciate a professional who sticks to the business plan. Which brings us to segment 3, worst possible wellness retreat.
Okay, so since we just had a beautiful, spiritually healing sound bath, we thought we would build the most toxic, chaotic wellness retreat imaginable, using only the deeply flawed cast members from the show.
The structural setup of this retreat is a psychological nightmare. Ashe is the retreat guru, but instead of serving herbal tea and leading breathwork, he's forcing everyone to do mandatory MDMA sound baths while subtly holding them at gunpoint.
That's horrifying.
You are not allowed to leave the meditation yurt until you verbally admit to your deepest financial insecurities and sign over the deed to your house.
Mel is the retreat manager, but she is right in the middle of her spiral. So she accidentally contaminates the entire retreat's drinking water supply with raw compost because she was trying to enact petty vengeance on a neighboring yoga studio. Everyone at the retreat has severe dysentery.
Tori is hired as the morning yoga instructor, but she shows up incredibly drunk, completely ignores the vinyasa flow, and ends up crashing the retreat's electric golf cart straight through the canvas wall of the meditation yurt during a silent Vipassana session.
And Coop is just sitting in the corner of the room. He's not even participating in the yoga. He's just cornering people who are desperately trying to hold a downward dog pose, aggressively trauma dumping on them about his dad's funeral, his missed child support payments, and how he accidentally joined a money laundering cartel.
Sounds relaxing.
It is the most stressful, cortisol-spiking environment on planet Earth. You don't leave healed, you leave with severe PTSD.
I need a vacation just thinking about the liability insurance required for that retreat. Finally, segment 4. What would be your crime? In honor of the absolute bumbling criminality of Coop and Elena, we have to admit the absolute dumbest crimes we would accidentally commit in our real lives.
Okay, you go first. Analyze your own flaws. What is your accidental crime?
I have thought about this deeply, and it comes down to my need for control and my lack of patience. As a dental professional with a very low tolerance for nonsense, I would definitely get caught stealing laughing gas from my own practice.
Oh my gosh.
And to be clear, not to sell it. I wouldn't be running a cartel. I would just take it home and use it on myself to deal with the sheer exhausting annoyance of dealing with difficult patients all day.
You would just sit on the couch with a mask on.
Exactly. Or, alternatively, I would accidentally commit massive tax evasion because I tried to write off a $3,000 Sephora haul as medical supplies required for patient morale.
The Dior lip gloss is for their post-cleaning confidence officer. It's a medical necessity. I love that so much.
What about you? What's your accidental crime?
Okay, my accidental crime. Because I lead with my emotions, I would 100% become an accessory to a major heist, like an Ocean's 11 level bank robbery, but not on purpose.
Walk me through the mechanics of how one accidentally joins a heist.
A patient would come in for a massive multi-hour root canal, and while they were under the heavy anesthesia, their inhibitions would drop, and they would start trauma dumping and confessing their intricate plans to rob a casino to pay for their mother's surgery. And I Being a highly empathetic emotional sponge, would feel too emotionally invested in their struggle to pay off their debts. I would listen, I would validate their feelings, I would tell them their anger at the capitalist system is justified, and I wouldn't report them to the police.
Wow.
Next thing I know, my dental office is being used as the safe house to store the duffel bags of cash, and I'm holding the blueprints to the Bellagio.
And you would be the getaway driver who perfectly parallel parks but forgets to fill the gas tank. It all comes full circle, back to your horoscope.
It really does. I am a liability to myself. Well, this discussion really gave us everything we could possibly want. It gave us intense psychological warfare, it gave us terrible parenting choices, it gave us porta-potty arrests, and it gave us the sheer visceral terror of Jon Hamm standing in a driveway in 2000 U.S. Open sweatpants.
The show is finally hitting its stride. It's turning the tension up to 11, shifting from slow character building into a real thriller, and trapping these deeply flawed people in a web of their own making.
It is a massive mess, and we are absolutely living for it. Thank you so much to the Snark Squad for hanging out with us, drinking slushies, and spiraling with us today. We love you. We appreciate you. And honestly, we are all just spiraling through life together, trying to avoid the blue puddles.
If you enjoyed our descent into analytical madness, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And send us your stories. We want your shady, snarky, or completely stupid stories. Tell us about your own catastrophic camping disasters or the terrible exes who made you ignore all the glaring red flags.
Yes, send us all the tea. We want to read it. But before we go, I want you to really think about Ashe's velvet line trap. We all sit here and say we'd call an Uber the second the FBI shows up. But how much comfort, how much luxury would it actually take for you to silence your own intuition and ignore your own red flags? Think about that the next time someone offers you something that feels just a little too good to be true. Stay chaotic, stay hydrated, and we will see you on the Snark side.